When you go to a Toledo or Bowling Green football game, the stands might be packed, but don't think for a second that the struggling economy is not taking its toll. In part one of our special on money in college sports, Howard Chen gives you a glimpse of some of the adjustments the schools have to make, especially this year.
The economy's hurt everybody in every industry.
I believe there's been belt tightening probably within every family in the United States, every business in the United States, and certainly every campus in the country.
For Bowling Green Athletics, that means 8 staffers laid off or not replaced. At Toledo, that number's 9. But even before the economy hit, both struggled to make ends meet.
Of the 120 schools, I believe only about 15 or 20 revenues outpace expenses. And those, as you can imagine, are the larger institutions.
Like Ohio State, where even though pretty much every sport loses money, football alone carries the athletic department into profit. Mid-sized schools don't have this luxury of a money-making sport. But somehow, Toledo has pulled off the unthinkable. UT has profited in no small part to multi-million-dollar donations used to renovate Savage Arena and to build the Fetterman Training Center. Thanks to those gifts, Toledo Athletics has made over $1 million each of the last 2 years. But if you break it down individually at UT, every sport loses money. Football pulls in the most revenue at between $1.5 to $2 million. But overall, they lose a net of almost $3.5 million. Men's basketball revenues are over $400,000, but when all's said and done, they're over $700,000 in the hole. Women's basketball loses more money because the expenses are about equal with the men, but with a revenue of just over $50,000.
We make every attempt not to live in the red. We want the black number at the end of the year, and we have on occasion, but it's very difficult. There's no question about it. When you're non-BCS and you do not have the revenue as far as conference dollars, bowl dollars, that type of revenue, then you just have to be as creative as possible.
That's where Toledo and Bowling Green coaches come in. They're not just in charge of the X's and O's. They also have to cross the T's and dot the I's and work within the budget.
People don't really understand that being a college basketball coach is so much more than basketball, and you really are the CEO of the program. Everybody always wants more, and you have to learn how to do more with less. And I think that's a good motto to have. We purposely scheduled down a little bit so we only took one flight this year, as opposed to last year or years before.
You might have to get a larger guarantee by some of the big power conference schools out there to make the trip worthwhile, or have a team, when you're going on the road, throw in some hotels to help you with the expense of hotels on the room. Any little thing can help.
Both coaches say the economy hasn't hurt recruiting yet. But for Cross, he's one of the rare coaches to still have a media guide describing a program's history to hand out to potential targets. Toledo still prints media guides for football, both basketball teams, and women's soccer. All the others are on disc, something new this year to save more money.
It gives them something tangible to hold on to and to look at and to reference throughout the year. And hopefully we can keep those and have the necessary funding to keep putting those out.
All right, thank you, Howard. And he will break down the numbers next Saturday for Bowling Green Athletics, including how BG hockey fits into all this and what the school's doing for the future. All this next Saturday in part 2 of Money in College Sports.